Yo, what's good, everybody? And before we get into today's wild, spicy episode, to say the least, I'm excited to say that today's episode is sponsored by 1v1me. 1v1me is basically an app where you can play Call of Duty against other people for money. Unlike a lot of other platforms, 1v1me doesn't take any fees away from your earnings, so you 100% keep what you earn. It's super easy to start. Basically, you just sign up, you play and compete. You can start a challenge, you set up your own rules, pick up your maps, your game modes, and you wait for somebody to accept, and you can play and compete for money or for free. It's really, really easy. The app makes you a stream from Twitch when you're playing for money. So it verifies your information and the opposing team's information to make sure you're not cheating and avoiding that type of situation. And overall, it's really, really, really easy. You have to be 18 or older to play for money, but anyone can play for free. And it's a lot of fun to get started, play some 1v1s, 2v2s, 3v3s, 4v4s, whatever it is. And they also offer like battle royales, Warzone, things like that you can get into and compete in as well. So overall, it's a ton of fun. Link in the description down below. The first 1,000 people get their first $1 for free to compete on the site. And so you can definitely get started right away and get into it and compete against others right off the rip. Overall, shout out 1v1me for sponsoring the pod. And without further ado, guys, we can get right into this one and rank some Call of Duty pros. Let's get into it. Let's go. Hey everyone, and welcome to the Best of 3 Call of Duty Esports Podcast. I'm your host, Josh. SalvationsElite to my right is Bash _ Bo3 Sam, and to our farthest right, per usual, is none other than Rex, ShadyNero, and boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Today is going to be one of the spiciest pods of our history. We're getting into our first tier list as a podcast, tier listing all Call of Duty pros heading into Call of Duty Vanguard. So it's gonna be a spicy one for sure. We got a little bit of news to get into as well today. So it's gonna be a fun one. I'm looking forward to the discussions, the debates, and everything else. But before we get any of that, guys, I gotta ask, boys, what's going on?
Well, Josh, I'm feeling like a hog, just rolling around the mud in the middle of the farm, and there's this little spider that's been hanging out up in the rafters, and I've been observing it, saying, "What's going on, little spider?" And I go over and I start eating at my mush, my sludge, and this is really delicious. And all of a sudden, the spider comes creeping from its home across the fence post in front of me and stares me directly in the eye. And I'm like, "Little spider, you better get away. You better get away from my food. I'm trying to eat here." And then it jumps on me and it bites my nose.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, man, this turned out to be a really weird day.
Wow, that really lingered at the end there. Wow.
When you first started, I feel like we've heard a pig in the mud before.
No shot. Really?
I think we have.
It's possible. It's possible.
I honestly couldn't tell you.
I had the slightest bit of deja vu.
There's inspiration from Charlotte's Web.
Okay, Charlotte's Web. Yeah. I was wondering. So Sam, how you doing? Are you feeling like the predator spider today? Ready to attack?
I'm feeling more of today was more of like the pig in the mush day,
Oh, no, man.
Word.
But that's Mondays. Today's right now it's Monday night.
That's
the Monday's come and gone. So let's get into the spider mode.
Oh, but we know how good Tuesdays are, because that means Best of 3 podcast, baby. Let's go.
Wow.
So, I mean, again, like I said, it's going to be a fun one, man. I'm really looking forward to it. And also, I'm excited to say that this episode, as you guys heard at the beginning, is brought to you or sponsored by the 1v1me app. So make sure to hit the link down below and check out the 1v1me iOS app that you can go play wagers and do a lot of good stuff there. As little as $1, you can play for free if you want as well. So it's dope. I highly recommend it. But you can listen, of course, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. You can drop a comment on YouTube. You can drop that 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. And today we might just have a review, Sam.
We sure do.
Oh, baby.
Here we go. This one is from JD Shake.
Okay.
JD Shake.
Okay. I like it.
I can read. Fantastic COD banner on a weekly basis. 5-star review, of course.
Oh, of course.
You guys do a fantastic job of bringing in entertaining topics and interesting discussion every week. Thank you.
Let's go.
Your podcast is much more intelligent than irrelevant. Hey, throwback. Or not throwback, callback, I should say.
Yeah, love it.
I'm curious, if you three were entering the CDL as a team, what would your roles be, and who would most want, or who would you most want as the fourth player to join you?
That's a good question.
All right, boys.
Well,
This is calling back to our World War II days.
I'm kind
Josh
of
is
like the main slayer.
I'm a sub OBJ.
Jeez.
Sam is an AR.
Yeah, so I mean, legit roles wise, I'm definitely more of like the sub slayer. Rex is like a support SMG, but also but depends on what our fourth team is. Rex can flex if we need him to, but he prefers running SMG. Sam's prefers
both, I bet.
Yeah, Sam can also flex, but he prefers man AR when we're usually squadding up with the boys. So I mean, our fourth,
boys?
I mean, outside of Amari, of course.
I mean, are we taking a fourth as like a pro, or like?
I think a fourth is a pro,
or just someone we know.
I feel bad. I feel bad for that pro, dude. He's coming into the league stuck with us.
No, it shouldn't be a pro.
Oh no, man, that's tough. Doug Sensor Martin.
Oh, for sure, dude. We need the passion on this team.
Yeah. Sleeveless,
Honestly.
Doug Sensor Martin. I mean,
Sleeveless.
obviously.
Sure.
There's no other way to go.
It can't be sleeved.
No, of course not. Yeah, so okay. The sleeveless Doug Sensor Martin is our answer, I think. I like that one a lot. So, well, thank you for the 5-star review. We appreciate that.
I don't think it's ever been asked of us before. Like,
no,
it's a good question. I could
is.
totally go into more detail about the intricacies of our team dynamic, but I won't.
We actually recently had not recently, but like a couple months ago, we had like a breakdown.
Because it was needed.
We're not getting into this. But I think overall, I mean, this year, hopefully we can play a lot more together. Hopefully we'll have like iron out the schedules a little bit at some point.
For sure.
Play a little bit more in Vanguard, and hopefully with some league play near launch, we can make that happen as well. But
maybe some best of 3 GBs.
Like a best of 3 podcast gameplay sesh where it's like pod, like our pod's just playing GBs. That would be a fun time. Without further ado, guys, I think we can get into the news of the week. Let's hit it, baby. Let's go.
The Call of Duty News of the Week.
News here.
Oh,
There's
baby.
a keyboard versus mouse debate that was proliferating throughout
Rampant.
the Twitter, social media space.
Definitely a slower week on the news this week. So that's why we're doing like the big old tier ranking stuff. But yeah, 100%.
So, basically, I think kind of started with Myth saying that, keyboard, like it, the aim assist on controller is unfair. Keyboard, it takes more skill.
He said he wouldn't rank a controller player in the top 10 FPS players of all time.
Right.
Yeah.
Which just set everyone off.
Yeah, sparks some debate.
COD Twitter goes nuts on that,
Yep. Later on, Myth went and retracted his statement. He said he was talking out of his butt. As someone that's he said he's not qualified to be spreading that type of slander. And then Nate Shot basically also kind of went at him saying, you don't know what it's like to play against the best in the world on controller, yada, yada, yada. What do you guys think? Controller, keyboard, is there a difference in skill?
I loved Crone's reply to it. Him just replying with like, it was like Formal's ranking higher than Myth in like Valorant. Like, got me. I was dead after that. Yeah.
I think this debate it'll never end. I think it'll always forever be a thing,
There's always this hierarchy.
Definitely. But it's hard because it's like, yes, you are getting a mechanical advantage with the controller where there is an assist to it. But you are using thumbs instead of your whole arm and that kind of thing. So
and a joystick instead of a mouse.
Yeah. So like I get it. And I do think like up close fights, there are times where it's like, okay, aim assist is pretty nasty up close where it's like,
no, it is for sure.
Like you don't miss. And like I'd much rather play for Call of Duty. I'd much rather play controller. Like it just feels way better.
I agree.
Wise and stuff.
It definitely depends on the game. Like
I think so.
Like
it
has to, right?
Yeah.
I think the advantage is because like I play both. I think with what I like about keyboard and mouse is you can move a lot quicker and make like split-second decisions that much faster than an opponent might be able to.
Mhm.
But there is definitely a disadvantage when it comes to up close chaotic gunfights, because
Right.
a controller, it will help you stay with the
I
person.
think the
where on
movement-
keyboard and mouse, they can
It
get
really
around
comes
you,
down to that. Yeah.
and you can't follow it as easily as you could with a controller.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah,
at the end of the day, one person who's good at this video game is probably going to be good at this video game. And, esports in general, it's more of a mental aspect involved than I think people give credit for. It's not that these people are just
100%.
super nasty on controller.
Yeah.
They are. But I think the real nastiness comes from
Their
the
processing.
knowledge. Yeah, the processing and
Yeah.
knowledge that they have of a certain game. That's why you can see people like Formal or Scump or Karma transcend different platforms and still succeed in whatever game they're playing.
Yeah, for me, I think the only X factor, like you said, up close gunfights, like I think it boils down to this. It's like up close gunfights, for sure, controller's better. But then at long range gunfights, it's not even close. Of course, the mouse and keyboard's better. Like,
Yeah.
obviously. And
Yeah.
sniping on mouse and keyboard is infinitely, like, that's unbelievably
extent.
easy.
I think in Cold War, controller sniping was probably easier because of an aim assist.
But like, Myth is talking straight up like battle royales and stuff right now too, though. Like in BRs, PC is dominant.
yeah,
I don't know. That's weird to me.
I really do think that like there's really not that. Like someone can go pro, like we've seen in Warzone, like there's certain people who use controller who are super good. There's certain people who use keyboard and mouse, and they're also super good, and they're pretty evenly matched when it comes to playing against each other.
Yeah, I mean, in games that have a lot of different like play styles that you can kind of like live to, then it could make sense. Like maybe you could see a world where one day COD is cross input, and AR players are PC players and SMG players are controller players, and that's kind of how it boils down. I mean, that's possible for sure, but
Wasn't
I don't
there?
know.
Wasn't there in the Overwatch League? Wasn't there someone like some controller players?
Sometimes I think there's a player. I think when they play Mercy, I think there was a player who used like a controller, like half of the controller, like the
I see, I
thumbstick or
see.
something. And the other part
Yeah.
was using his mouse or something like that.
Interesting.
But that was with Mercy, and she doesn't really require any aim
Or
per se.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah, makes
That-
sense.
yeah,
Makes
that
sense. But yeah, so I don't know. Overall, I think it's kind of how it ends up boiling down to, though.
Oh.
It's honestly, it's an annoying debate at this point. Like,
I was gonna say, I feel like at this point, focus on your non-aiming skills, on your knowledge of the game, on spawns and positioning too.
yeah, and mental
Positioning
processing.
is huge. So I'd say just focus on that. It does get annoying when you do hear that like that excuse every time where it's just, oh, I died just because of aim assist. Like, well, could you have done better there? Could you have positioned better? Could you
Right.
have predicted better? So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Rex, thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, I think not being stupid is more important than just being a person who can aim really well. Someone who aims really well, but they're super stupid and they just challenge everything. Like, you're just not going to win every gunfight. But if you play smart, right positioning, it'll take you way further.
Agreed. Take us away.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
That's right. We are in the news.
Podcast.
Methodz leaving Ultra. Let's see. He said last day in Toronto with the best internet on earth at
Yeah.
Bell.
Is it
And it's like
bait?
the 1,000 up, 1,000 down. Is he leaving Ultra? I would say probably.
I don't know. I mean, it's possible. Kind of comes down to like what happens with squads and the CDL. I mean, would he leave the Ultra? I guess it kind of depends what contracts he gets for. If he does say he doesn't get a team, like, does he leave the Ultra if he doesn't get on a roster?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It depends if Ultra wants to keep him. He is sort of their poster boy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for content right now, yeah.
But he's not playing. So
I know. It's a weird balance. It kind of comes down to how much they want to pay, I guess, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But it says last day there. I don't know. I assume that he would end up leaving Ultra. I kind of thought that's what was going to happen from the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, it's really he also could just be moving to Dallas, but still be on the Ultra.
If they
he's-
allow him, because wasn't the
he's-
big thing like they're required to stay there? But as
Yeah,
a
there
content
was-
creator or whatever,
Yeah,
he might
maybe
end up
not.
being.
Yeah, it's possible.
He is promoting Bell too, which is a Toronto sponsor.
Yeah, exactly.
But Bell has been known to be like one of the best internet providers.
In one ping, 944 down and 942 up. I mean, that's nice. That is
incredible.
That's quality right there.
Pretty good,
to say the least.
On Reddit, someone posted a clip of Simp in Black Ops 3. He was playing against, I think, the old United squad of Silly, Gunless, Arcides, and Pristini, among other clips. Those are like probably the biggest names we saw in it. And then Simp actually commented saying, "Wish I could have competed in this game. Easily my best game." And his clips
wild.
are nasty. He was pretty nasty at Black Ops 3.
Could you imagine if we had a Black Ops 3 now, how good those guys would be?
Ooh,
it would
be. I want to see
it would be
Shotzzy.
scary.
I want to see Shotzzy in a
man.
jetpack game.
Hopefully we get it in the next few years, because I mean that will be so fun to watch. I mean, legit would be insane. I couldn't imagine. I don't know, man. He was disgusting back then for sure. When you're that young, but you're getting known in the scene as one of the best S&D stars in the game, and like Chals, and you're playing against the pro players regularly, and he was like, what, 16 at the time, 15 maybe?
Yeah.
Like freaking insane.
Bro.
It's crazy.
That's just insane, dude.
Some of the clips are crazy,
Yeah.
to say the least.
Someone posed a question on Reddit. Had Formal not retired, what team do you think he would have gone to?
Yeah, this is the news this week. This is how dry it was.
Nothing really happened, so we decided to pose questions.
Any talk about Formal is not dry. It's wet.
Oh,
Nice.
True. H4F. But I don't know. What are your thoughts, Rex? Who would he play for?
Well, someone on here
Would
said
he stay on OpTic?
That's like,
Well, no, OpTic kicked him off.
That's
well, rumored kicked him off. Someone in here said could see him being on Florida. I think he liked teaming with Skies.
I mean, it'd be
Kick
kind
out
of a weird
Awakening?
combo, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I get the idea behind it, but like in 4v4, I don't see it working with those two play styles.
It's weird because you want to look back at what teams Formal has played for that weren't OpTic.
LG,
which would be Seattle, but you don't imagine he'd go there, right?
no way. It's where you go to die.
Maybe you could see him going to like New York or something, but that seems pretty unlikely. I don't know. But does he create his own team? Does he build the LAG squad?
Oh, that's not a bad theory.
Or does
It's true. Like, would Envoy wanted to have stuck with him?
Maybe.
You know?
Yeah, maybe.
I kind of doubt
I don't know. Obviously, a lot of people would want to play with Formal if they have a chance to play with them.
I think
So,
Formal could have gotten any team he probably wanted.
Yeah.
But there's a reason he decided not to choose any of them.
Right. It's retire instead.
Mhm.
I agree. So I don't know, man. It's going to be wild. I don't know. Sam, what team if you had to put your bet on, which team would you think you would have been on?
I mean, New York would kind of. Nah.
I think I'd lean LAG and him just kind of building his own squad.
Probably LAG. Would he ever team with Gunless again? I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't. I'd assume he'd be fine with it, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then maybe like grab Envoy too if he was willing to.
Maybe Gunless and Asim said they were like a duo heading into ROSTERMANIA. So
that's true.
maybe Gunless, Asim, Formal, and then SMG.
Yeah,
So
whoever.
Vivid. Bring it.
Maybe Vivid. It'd be interesting. Yeah. I feel like he wouldn't be as happy though,
No.
wherever he ended up. So
No,
good
yeah.
thing he
I think
retired.
solid overall, but that's the news this week.
That's it.
Wow.
That's it.
I mean,
Been
literally, I
pretty
think
quiet.
like CDL Intel only tweeted like 2 or 3 times this week. There was basically nothing on Reddit. There was a very chill week, to say the least. No ROSTERMANIA announcements. Nothing else. We're still waiting. I mean, and the only ROSTERMANIA updates would be like, we're waiting to hear what happens with Paris. We're waiting to hear if the Washington's Overwatch team ends up buying that Washington DC spot, or buying NRG spot for Washington DC. We're waiting on those things, and it could still be a while. So there's a world where we don't know these teams for upwards of 2 months potentially, and we'll have to go from there. And there's, Vanguard, the beta's done. So it was a pretty dry week overall when it came to like news and everything.
Yeah. Or do we want to talk about Crone and his
shout out
tweets?
Crone. I mean, he put down a little bit like a down bad tweet, kind of like, man, COD's been tough lately. Like, not sure exactly what my future holds type situation.
Gonna
So
burn out.
shout out Crone, a little bit of burnout, but I mean, he is literally like the heartbeat of news in the CDL, and
Yeah.
he digs it up for everybody. And so hopefully we can keep Crone around. Show him some love on Twitter.
Someone needs to give
CDL
that
Intel,
man a paycheck.
Crone.
Somebody-
man.
Like,
yo.
because he's doing this stuff for, not enough to live off of.
Mhm.
And like, this is crazy amount of information. And like the COD scene almost thrives off of what he gives us. And it's like, we're not really giving him much in return. And I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I think he should honestly, he should just get crowdfunded to do this. I legit think that it could work.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what happens, but shout out Crone, man. He's
We
the
down.
GOAT
Shout out
for
Crone.
sure. So boys, this is why this podcast is crazy though, because the whole rest of this pod, we're not even 20 minutes in, and the whole rest of this pod is one segment. We are going to be tier listing Call of Duty pros, all the COD pros that are locked into being a CDL next year. So it's going to be a wild debate. It's our first time actually doing this together. And so I think we're going to have some fun conversations along the way. And I'm glad you guys are here for the ride. So without further ado, guys, let's get right into this one. It's going to get wild. Let's get it.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Oh, baby. So this is going to be a little bit different than some of the other tier lists that I've done on the channel in the past. So how we're going to do this is it's not going to be as crazy, because we're going to be tier listing the 40 COD pros that are confirmed, maybe a few more, like between 40 and 43 or so COD pros confirmed for next year. So we're going to have 5 tiers. So I can switch over to the screen here so you guys can see what's going on here. So we're going to have 5 tiers, S, A, B, C, and D tier. We cut off the E tier because we're only doing 40 players this time around. So I thought it'd be easier to just kind of do 5 tiers. And let's limit ourselves to at max 8 in the S tier, because we got to keep it at least a little bit exclusive. So let's keep ourselves to
8.
at least 8, which I mean, if we're tier listing 40 players, that's not even really that exclusive considering, there's
And
5
Rex,
tiers.
the Terrors is not 1.
Yeah, and the terrors aren't just 1, Rex. All right, so let's keep that in check
Golly.
now. Oh my word,
Cheating.
unbelievable.
Jeez.
So, to be fair, also that podcast was well received last week, I think overall. So that was a fun conversation. But I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna be going player by player and just kind of teeing it off. I just randomized the order of things, and we start off with a layup. Good news, boys. So we start off with none other than speaking of the tiny terrors, we start off with a BZ.
S tier.
easy. S tier.
I mean, I feel like there's not really much debate there to be had. I mean,
No.
we all know he's a top 2 at worst 3 player in the game. And we talked about value last week, the value he brings to the team. I mean, legit, it's not even worth talking about. There's no debate.
No.
He's a beast.
Yeah.
And one of the best players in the CDL, undoubtedly. So next up is Gunless, actually. We talked a lot about him last week as well, actually.
Yeah.
So,
Gunless is an
I think
interesting one.
okay, also, I forgot to mention this, but maybe we each have 1 or 2 vetoes.
Mhm.
Like if you hard believe in a guy, maybe we all have 1 veto. Nah, man, this guy's A tier. So you can use your veto at any point
I agree with that.
and pull a guy into a certain tier if you demand it. So
Okay.
All right.
just stick to that one. So initial thoughts on Gunless.
Oh, man, he's a mixed bag. I think a lot of the consensus with him, whether it's, should be considered or not, is that he's this amazing player, but he hasn't had a lot of success in recent years. I don't think we consider him an S tier player.
No. So I mean, how to think about it sort of would be if S tier's top 8, then A tier's somewhere around 9 through 16-ish, somewhere in there. And then B tier would be, maybe 24 through or 16 or 17 through 24-ish. So
I'm sitting on a B tier with Gunless.
Okay.
I'm willing to go to a C.
Really? I think I'm down to stick with B for now.
Mhm.
I mean, I think we're allowed to move guys around though until we get more guys in here, because
Mhm.
it's kind of hard to tier list exactly without knowing where the other guys might
Yeah.
end up going.
So we're doing 8 in each tier.
I don't think we have to have 8 in every tier, but roughly that amount, you know, between 6 and 10 though.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say about Gunless is I think he's a hard one to rank because I would say we all three here agree that he has some insane potential.
Yeah, he has top 10 potential for sure.
But unfortunately, we haven't seen the performance in
since
in the
BO4.
past. Yeah, and like not to say on Huntsman he wasn't actually. I think on Huntsman he did phenomenal.
He was
job.
valuable.
I think he was the one that got the short end of the straw, kind of one that didn't really fit.
Oh, the short end of the straw, man. That's so tough.
Yeah, but I don't know. Is that the wrong saying?
Draw the short straw.
He drew the short straw, or he got the short end of the stick.
Short end of the straw.
I'm nitpicking here, but
I'm just combining two.
No, literally.
Things,
but I agree with you though. I mean, like, I'm down to go B for now. If you guys are willing to do B for now. All right, cool. And we'll see what happens with some of the other guys that show up. So next up on the list, another interesting player. We talked about him, or we talked about him a little bit last week, maybe, but Kenny's up next as our next guy on the list here. So, Rex, thoughts on Kenny?
I think he's above Gunless, not S tier. For now, I'm comfortable with an A tier, but I could be convinced down to a B tier.
Yeah, he's on the fringe, I feel like. I could see him A or B.
Yeah, part of me wants to put maybe B. When you take the last 2 years, LA OpTic for one, and then this year he honestly was the bright spot with I think him and Draza when they were.
They were consistently solid whenever they were playing.
When they were the AR duo, they were phenomenal. And I even think too when Draza kind of moved at the end, Kenny was still phenomenal too. So, that's a hard one. I think there's a lot of good players on this list. I say maybe stick with B with a potential move up to A.
Okay.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that. I don't think he's had the results in a while that you maybe would expect out of an A tier player.
Is there any hard arguments for an A tier?
I mean, he was consistent throughout the year. I think that goes to show consistent with absolute chaos around him constantly.
That's true.
I think that means something. And I really think that next year Gunless Kenny could be really, really good. I mean, I guess the question is, are we tier listing this off of, in my head, I'm tier listing this like off of like if we're building rosters for Vanguard. Like,
okay, gotcha. Okay,
it's like that type of idea there.
Maybe not as far back as like 2 years ago. Like maybe look more looking forward.
I mean, you could potentially take that into consideration. It's hard, it just kind of comes down. I mean, again, it's tough because it's like, a few years ago was World War II, but really, this is a modern warfare game. And so it's like, I think it's more of like a ROSTERMANIA type tiers list where we're tiers listing, the guys after these rosters have been built and kind of looking forward towards this future and, just kind of how they're going to perform in Vanguard. Yeah. So, I would lean A, but like the backside of A or the top of B. I'm down to go A for now and then see what happens. So a really interesting player up next. Afro is up next, actually.
All right. So how much time do we take into account with his tenure?
Right.
Is important.
I do think though, if we're looking for ROSTERMANIA and building a team, is it crazy to want to put him in A tier?
I think it's a
I
little
don't think
ambitious.
It's crazy, but it's an eyeball pick decision. I don't think there's a lot of like data we can use to just convince ourselves to put him there. But I think just by eyeballing what he has or what he's done, and just his gameplay, I would put A tier.
Oh man, that feels a little ambitious. Then we're talking like, Scump Envoy, like that, like top 16, like Skies or like Attach. It's kind of hard to say exactly guys who might be in that area, I think, with our conversation.
Man, he doesn't have a solid grounding, I guess, pick the A tier, but I think he'll easily get there in the next season.
I'm willing to go B.
I know. There's part of me that's like, I think this guy's the real deal, like right now.
I mean, no,
Me too.
He showed some insane flashes, and like it's very possible that could be the case. But I get nervous for sure.
I suppose with like the time limit, I think B is probably good.
Let's go with B. Alrighty, so our next player is Illy. He's up next here on the list. And this is another guy who is very tough, man. Very tough, to say the least. This is a guy who could easily end up getting moved depending on the conversations near the end here. So I think probably what's going to be tough for us is we're probably going to have to like fill it out a little bit and then wrap back to some of the guys we ranked originally and then potentially have some more conversations about them at the end. My initial instinct would either say probably the back of B tier at this point. Rex,
I'll
thoughts?
throw him in B tier. I do not feel comfortable at all putting him in C tier.
Yeah, A tier, but after how he played this whole year, it's hard to put him in A heading into the next game. But
He's
I
definitely
think
not a C.
No, I don't think so. I'm down to go B. Sam, how you feel about B?
I think B. Part of me thinks that there's times where he just looks super uncomfortable on the map and like not like as natural as
but he played as a SMG. He played as an AR. Like
for sure.
You know,
it's weird. Like I don't know how to describe it because like he's a phenomenal player. There's just times where it's like, man, it just doesn't seem like it's working. But yeah,
I mean, he's also insanely young.
Yes. 100%.
So it's like there's so much room for it to improve still, which is I think some of the exciting upside still with Illy.
Yeah, I would like to see an Illy outside of Shotzi, honestly.
Really?
I don't know. I would
that
like to
would
see,
be just to get
you know what I mean? Like I feel like we need some more data on Illy. Maybe that's a weird thing to say, but
yeah. I could see it. It's just like I think we feel like there's just so much. We're left with wanting so much more with Illy after this season. Like we only got to see that like high up tier slaying upside a few times on the year, like one time on Moscow and a few other ones. Like at the end of the year, he had some good moments too. But man, for a lot of this year, it was tough for Illy. So I could see some people saying him being lower, but I'm down to go B.
Yeah. Let's do like near the back of B.
All right. Up next, another player, very interesting. Kleenex. So many really good players on this list.
A
so
tier
Kleenex is the next guy here.
Throw an A tier.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want
is there
to
an
say
argument
S
for top
tier?
8? I think there's an argument for top 8.
Yeah, because we do get 8 options. I have to see what the rest of the options are.
What's your gut instinct, Sam?
My gut instinct is for sure A. I think there's 8 players we can put above him, honestly.
It's close.
I do think it's close, but I think when you're looking into like building around, like, you know, if you're framing it more of like who's the top 8 that we want to frame a team around, I feel like there's 8 players there that might be better than Kleenex. But I mean,
it's going to come down to that SMG debate. It's going to come down to like Hydra, Kleenex, Standy, Scump.
But like, there's no way I feel like you can save close to below A. Like it's A or higher for sure. So
100%.
Oh yeah, it's A or higher for sure.
Yeah.
That's not a debate, you know.
No way.
Throw him an A for now.
I might lean S, but it's close. Okay, this is a guy we're gonna have to wrap back to probably.
I think so.
All right. Oh, speaking of Hydra.
Speaking of
Man,
Hydra.
the thing is with these young players who haven't really been around a super long time,
Yeah.
it's hard to pick.
Okay, well that Hydra or Kleenex, which one would you have higher?
I'd have Hydra.
Probably Hydra, but he hasn't been around long enough to really prove that, whereas Kleenex has. So how much does like a consistency and staying power relate to the S tier?
To be fair, I mean Hydra and Kleenex have been S tier players for about like that level, like top 10 type guys for about the same amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kleenex kind of arose to being a top 10 player in stage 2, obviously. And Hydra, you know, joined that team and then they went on there running stage 3. So I mean, I would lean Hydra. So I'm down to go S tier for Hydra if you guys are down.
I think so.
Hydra, you young phenom.
He's shown so much talent. He's shown so much talent and so much like confidence and like just good overall ability. I don't know. I mean, I get like there's people who are like Placer needs to be with him and that kind of thing, but I don't think so. I think he's fine. I think he's going to be a disgusting player wherever you put him.
Yeah.
So,
That's fair. That's fair. Well, all right. I'm down to keep him an S tier then. So, and this we're moving at a decent pace. So Havoc's up next, and it's kind of hard to say where exactly he could end up here. I think we're probably lower on him, either C or D, I'd imagine, for all of us.
I will.
But what are your guys' thoughts?
I will say maybe the one reason to not do D is he did. I think he did bring some uniformity to the Florida team.
For sure.
I think there is like before him, it did seem like, kind of chaotic and crazy. But I mean, like you saw, like whenever you like say Havoc now, I'm thinking of the checkmate game versus Subliners where he's just like screaming.
Oh yeah,
like,
literally.
you can't hear anything.
yeah.
Dude, literally.
It's insane. So my initial thoughts would be C tier.
I'm down to put him in C for now, but we might have to write back to him later. He's definitely on like probably the backside of the C tier, I'd imagine, in this type of list.
Yeah, it's hard
But,
because it's hard because I think his most dominant trait is the more leadership quality than
intangibles.
Yeah, so it could be kind of hard to.
And he's a good S&D player too,
Yeah.
and that gets tough too, which is why it's hard to rate him.
Mhm.
All right, so next up is Asim. So we got
All
another
right. Well, this
NYSL guy
man's
here.
impact on the map, I think, is undeniable. I think you guys are already pegging him as a B tier player. I think he has an argument for A tier. I think he showed immense amount of talent and skill during the Cold War season. We didn't see it so much in Modern Warfare, so like that's kind of his slight. But you can't deny the powerful effect he had on the success of Subliners and how good he looked.
I mean, yes, I agree with you, but like, he's definitely important to opening up the map for like Hydra and clearing out the map and playing. He's really good off playing off of his ARs, and he's obviously a great communicator. So like those things are on the fringe of A for me, but I just think there's just too many good players in the CDL. I would probably lean B tier.
Yeah, I think B. Like you look at like just Subliners, I think he was the third best player on that team.
That's fair.
If that's fair. Yeah. And like I think there's a lot of good players. Like you know what I mean. Like to not be in the top half of the Subliners says like there's just so many good players. No shade to Asim, but I think B is probably where he belongs. I don't know about A, personally.
Right.
But,
I mean, again, it's like a B tier player could be like 17th or 18th best player in the CDL.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's still a really good ranking.
Yeah.
Rex, thoughts?
I'm considering using a veto on this one. I really think we're sliding Asim too much. I think he did way more than you guys are giving him credit for on the Subliners. Yeah, we can say maybe, quote unquote, third best on the team, but the Subliners wasn't organized in a fashion that you can really think of it that way just because it was so specific to what they do. Like we're going to say Clayster, it was better than Asim, but they did things, they were completely different in their roles and what they were impacting on the map that it's hard to equate the two.
Right. But I mean, like,
but that's kind of what we're doing.
But then heading into the next season, it's like with Asim,
for the role he was given and how well he did it.
Then how about heading into Vanguard? Where do you think he's going to stack up? Is he going to be a B tier player this year, an A tier player this year? Because I'm more likely to see him as a B tier player this year.
If he can carry on how well he was doing as Subliners onto LAG and Vanguard, I think he has an argument for A tier. If he falls back into what was kind of happening with him in Modern Warfare, yeah, B tier.
Yeah, so I'm a pretty strong B here. Sam, you're strong. Are you strong B too?
Pretty strong.
So Rex, you're gonna either have to use your veto here, or we see what happens. I will allow if you want to wait to use your veto and then come back, and then come back to use the veto later if you want. That's fine. So all right, we'll stick with B tier for now. So up next is Crim. Very interesting debate here about the value he brings to the team. Obviously, we talk a lot about Crim and how important of a player he is to bring structure and that communication. And his S&D this year was great.
Mm-hmm.
And so it comes down to how much you weight those things, search and destroy, intangibles, his history. We obviously know he's reliable and all of those things. And I mean, he was winning gunfights. He had some really, really good moments too this year. I mean, What's your initial instincts here?
It's hard to decide. He's the most winningest player, but he's not, flashy as what we see with these S tier and A tier players, but he still comes out with wins consistently.
Oh, I mean, yeah, for sure.
And then there's like the intangible value that's hard to, whatever.
To articulate.
So
I would go B here.
I'm okay with B.
Part of me is contemplating A here.
Really?
When you think of like main ARs, you would absolutely want Crim on your team, And if we're putting Kenny at A as a main AR too,
Well, he's a flex / SMG potentially this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get your point. Again, I think this might be another guy we might have to come back to again later. There's a lot early on. These tier lists just gets tough if we don't have enough context for exactly what these guys. I'm down to put him in B for now, and then Rex thoughts. You go with that?
I'm okay with him being in B. I think
Okay.
it's possibly make a way to A.
Yeah, we'll see. And again, since we have 5 tiers, B tier should have the most guys in it. So I mean, that does make sense as well. So we'll see. Neptune is up next. Potentially Crim's teammate this season in the CDL. Sam, thoughts on Neptune?
Yeah, I don't think he showed enough to be considered like one of the better.
I would say back of B.
I agree with you, Josh. And like I know
we have a lot of B tier players off the rip here,
I
but
know. I don't like this. I feel like we need to be more critical.
I think I don't know. I think we're gonna end up balancing out.
Think so.
I think again, I just randomized it, so it's possible that it just got randomly. We just got B tier guys off the rip.
I think we get through more, and honestly, we'll probably have to go through it again. But let's do B for now.
Okay,
but I agree with
down.
you. I think he might be on the lower end. I think he does a lot of stupid stuff.
I was just because I mean, like me personally, like does C tier, just like with like how kind of underperforming he was, versus like expectations going in the season.
But man, that second half of the year though,
I know it was
that
good.
S&D was really, really good. And I mean, again, if we're
it's like a mixture of like
if we are
volatility.
projecting a little bit towards Vanguard, I'd like to stake the flag that he's at least a B tier player.
I think he's could be incredible. I guess I'm kind of like putting more weight on what we've seen versus what we're
what the
projecting.
potential could lie. Yeah,
so-
that's fair. There is that tough balance with these types of tier lists in the offseason, where you're just kind of having to project a little bit, but also go off what you know. So it's tough. But all right, so next guy up is a guy I think we can agree on here. Celium is up next.
Good old
on
Cell.
the list. And I mean, where
S
are we
for
sending
sexy.
him?
Sexy
S
Cell.
for sexy, saucy,
Yeah.
soaking. It's
Absolutely.
gonna be a good one there for. I mean, obviously he brings as much to a squad as anybody in the CDL. He's really, really good, and debatably the best flex in the CDL. So I don't know, not much else to say there besides Celium's unbelievable, and elite as it gets for the Atlanta FaZe. So next up is another really fun guy, Pred.
Josh, I want to hear
CDL.
your opinions. I want to hear your opinions on Pred.
I mean, I don't think it's safe to put him anywhere besides D tier for now. I mean, he's a rookie. He's a guy that like we have not seen play in the NA scene besides more than one tournament. And we've never seen him play against pros. We only saw him play against AMs, and that was one tournament, the kickoff of Modern Warfare. So it's like, I mean, we could take a shot on him and put him in C, but like that's a blind placement at that point.
There's so many variables here where it's like, yes, he has dominated in his scene, but like coming into the CDL with
It's unproven.
it's just unproven. So I think like D tier makes sense, even if like people could say, well, his individual skill level is way higher than that. Well, it's like, again,
But that's hearsay. I mean,
this is a
somewhat
tier
hearsay.
list. Like we don't know. There's
Right.
just no
We all
way.
have seen Pred do some insane things in the highlight reels. But again, who's the competition? It's just hard to know how that's going to stack. And that's why Seattle Surge's volatility is insane.
Yeah.
So
And no one should take that as shade either. It's just this is the way it is. Like
because we could look real dumb because he has S tier potential if his
Definitely.
slang upside. He could literally be Hydra. So
yeah,
it's possible. But I mean, you guys go with D for now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Next up, another interesting guy, Arcides is right there. Is he top 8 in your book? Is he A tier? Where you at with Arcides?
I would throw him in S tier. I think of all the ARs, Arcides is one that is very reliable. He has some good game sense. I would throw him in S tier.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard because you're looking at, so again, we know Insight's coming up. So it's like, there's
spoilers.
Sorry, I mean, come on. I guess I'm like projecting the future. Do you think? I don't know. Do you think all the should all the FaZe members be taking up half of S tier?
I mean, my thing is generally I just prefer giving tiebreakers to SMGs. So it's like I honestly might lean Arcides A tier, but he'd be like the first out.
Yeah.
If that ends up being the case. But again, it's hard to say exactly when we haven't gone through the rest of the debates, but just kind of knowing. I've done this a few times now.
Well, okay, who's
tier
the
list?
best AR in the league?
I mean, it's either Arcides or Insight.
I think a top 2 player in a specific role warrants being an S tier. We can't just exclude a particular role for being an S tier.
Yeah, but then we're talking like, Standy's next guy. Standy and Arcides are the 2 guys debated here. Who's more S tier?
I think Arcides.
I would say Arcides.
Interesting. I mean, do we want to put both of them there and see what happens?
We can put him there if we want to, but I'm going to pick Standy to go out of S tier before Arcides.
Interesting.
Do you think Standy did enough to be considered S tier?
Did he do as much as Hydra? Insight? Or, Shotzi? Simp? Cammy? Because those are going to be some of the other guys we're going to be considering probably for the S tier.
True.
And then you've got, we already put Kleenex in A tier. So it kind of depends how you feel about Kleenex versus Shot or versus like Arcides. It's like, would you have Kleenex or Arcides in the S tier?
Arcides.
Okay. So then with Standy then, I mean, how would you feel about Standy?
He did a lot for that Rokkr squad, and that's undeniable. He was the Rokkr squad.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said about that. His consistency was pretty good, right? I don't know. I can't really think of a map.
In my head, he might be an S. I think he's an S tier player. This is unfortunate.
Jeez, guys.
Do we put him there for now and then have the debate later?
Yep.
Yeah, I think you got it. Like, we'll probably be over 8 in S tier, then have to
eliminate 1 or 2.
Eliminate players. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So should that be our goal, is to kind of like quickly sort them and then go back and like
True.
debate
Yeah,
a little bit more?
Yeah.
On a lot of the guys? Okay, I'm down.
Do that.
So next up is Bance as the next guy up on the list here. I mean, my initial instinct is a B tier player.
That's because he's old. That's the reason you're putting him in B.
Wait, what are you trying to say?
I think there's
He's not old.
Not enough people. I mean, veteran, whatever. That I think Bance is one of those who doesn't get the credit like some of these other veteran players might for helping their squad with, whatever leadership or intangibles or whatever. And I think he's being discredited in that way. I think he played phenomenally just by his sheer gameplay, but I think even outside of the game and communication, I think he was also elite. I would put him in A tier.
Take Bance out of Ultra. Put him on
and put Asem on the squad.
Yeah.
Ultra gets worse.
Well, because of chemistry.
Yeah.
Well,
Bance is a reason the chemistry is as good as it is, though.
Yeah, but we're talking individual talent here.
So we're not even taking in the fact of intangibles or anything?
No, that matters, but like, just not like the chemistry of the players' personalities. Like,
okay, well, I think Bance has intangibles as well.
Well, I agree. That's his best qualities, his communication and leadership, for sure.
But his gameplay was pretty good.
No, I think he's a good player.
And we have Crim in the B tier.
But like, I feel like and I know
he is not better than Crim or Gunless.
I know we've discussed.
I think he's
before,
better than
but,
Gunless.
Bance is in this like great position for him. I just don't think he's like, you take him off that squad and like you put him with 3 league averages.
Yeah, what I mean is I don't see him as a tier above those guys.
Yeah,
That's what I mean.
I think he's right in with the B tiers.
I agree.
Yeah.
B tier. What was I gonna say? Oh, can you guys guess where does Bance lay in 8 oldest CoD pros? If you had to guess, like what number is he of the oldest CoD pros?
Like, do you mean like
Where does he rank age wise?
Oh, I think he's like,
I don't know.
I think he's
10th. I don't know.
well, isn't he like 24 only?
You gotta guess. I'm not here to say.
I think he's 15th.
He's ninth. He's 23 right now.
23.
Mm.
Yeah.
So just behind Octane, right ahead of Gunless. It's I
Interesting.
future video. I was working on that today. Okay, so with that said, now we got Draza on the loose.
A
The
tier.
goose is loose. No way he's A tier.
A tier.
There's no
Let's
way.
throw Draza an S. Whoa, you're gonna go B?
S?
Whoa.
I think Draza was super
What?
I think he's A
duper
tier.
good. I think he was better than Kenny. They were both great, don't get me wrong, but I think Draza was the best on that team.
I agree with that sentiment. I think Draza was better than Kenny.
I don't think so.
I
I think
think
Kenny's definitely better than Draza.
I don't on my top 10 most valuable.
What? Why would you even say that? What? Doesn't even make
Why
sense.
would you even say that?
You don't chow Draza on check. That was just a known thing. He even has
Kenny was
a
also
quote,
on all
people,
of those maps.
He is feared for playing him on check. You can look at the gameplay that Draza produced, and it was just phenomenal.
Nah, man. So
Look at the LA Thieves team when Draza joined, and then when he was
in my top
Big
30
enough.
players, Draza's 24th.
okay. Well, that's a dumb opinion.
Yeah. Put him in A.
I'm using my veto. He's gonna be in B. I'd be like, bro, what?
Oh my gosh,
Dude.
There's no way he is a tier above, like,
I think
any of these guys.
I think he's a tier above all those guys.
I agree. I think he's up there with Kleenex and Kenny. I think that's where he belongs.
what?
But of course, you use your veto.
I mean, I haven't used it yet, but one of you guys can use it.
I just don't know. I need to see them all on there. You know.
Yeah, I'm saving my veto.
I just can't
Okay,
believe
we can save our vetoes,
I
but
can't believe you're so low on him. I feel like
I
you
am
were like.
too.
I feel like you were like
What do
pumping
you
him up to
mean?
with us.
I
dude's
honestly
played a
thought
year.
this was a gimme. I was like,
know.
A tier easy.
no, definitely not. I mean, I think
Really?
having him in the top half of CoD Pros is a pretty reasonable take. If you guys are both voting A, then I have to put him in A,
Yeah.
but I don't want to.
100%.
Yeah. You're crazy.
I think
bro.
y'all are overhyping him a little bit too much. Like he had very good moments, but his consistency was nowhere near Kleenex's.
because he didn't get to play for
Him and Kleenex are in nowhere near the same tier. Kleenex is
The
way
reason I think LA Thieves were winning games like they was a big reason was because of Draza.
He wasn't even given a full year. Kleenex had a full year.
I mean, I get your argument. Like going into the next game with this roster, Draza could be incredible, but like, I mean, in a absolute vacuum though, if you're building a team next season, you're picking Kleenex or Draza. You're taking Kleenex 100 out of 100 times.
I'm taking Draza.
Oh my!
Yeah, you're a little too
word.
confident with that take. That one makes me like stop and think about that. Like I don't know what I would pick,
Yo, wait,
but
comments.
not
Yo,
just like easy Kleenex.
I think
podcast, y'all out there, man, come on,
I
y'all
think
are
Kleenex-
with me on this one.
I think Kleenex was the third best player on Toronto.
Well, that's fine. Stallion was the third best player on FaZe.
True, but FaZe was
Well, I mean,
last year.
FaZe an anomaly.
hey, I
All right.
mean,
Let's do the next
wow,
one.
what? Another guy we're totally
We
gonna
need
agree
some
on.
takes here, bro. We can't all be. We can't all be.
No,
agreeing.
I mean I agree. I'm down for some hot debate. But
Not
Mac's
a
up
hot
next.
debate. Draza is supposed to be an A.
Mac is up next. Thoughts on Mac?
B.
ShadyNero, fire away.
I would throw
I feel-
Mac in B. I think Mac had really, really good games, but he had
But-
some atrocities
but
that
he
were
was-
just bad games.
he was missing from the map sometimes, dude.
Yeah. 100%.
He's probably the back of B, but he could be C.
My gut said C, but I feel like I was about to get flamed for that. So
I think C is too low. I don't think Subliners would have been as successful as they were without Mac playing well. His consistency is an issue. Give you that.
Oh,
And I
man,
think
this
that's
one's
why I would
tough.
put him in B.
I think I might lean C now.
I'd vote C.
Because, like, look at the guys. There's some really good players in that B tier. I knew me and Rex would disagree on this. I would imagine. I thought Rex might say A, but
We're talking the top 40 players.
I mean, again, B. If we're, it depends how many guys we want in B. I think we can have a max of 12 in B.
I don't want to like overfill B. You know, like I want some C and D players. You know,
Yeah.
Well, okay.
you know.
I think there's some players that could be taken out of B and put in C. But
Let's put him in B because I think he's worthy of at least being discussed later. And we have these guys in B. So let's put him in B and discuss them later. All right.
Okay.
Shotzzy S.
Shotzi's up next. I mean, I think we all agree Shotzi's S.
Go.
So that's now our 6th player in S, which means we only have 2 spots left. And we're going to have some tough debates here, boys. So,
Sure.
yeah, Shotzi's a no-brainer. One of the best players in the CDL, undoubtedly. So Priest is up next. Another guy. Tough to debate here.
B for me. I'm thinking B. I'm not opposed to throwing him in C.
I think C due to his inconsistency.
I agree.
I think when he was
Yeah.
on, he was playing phenomenally. When we when they were on point, there were games where it was like, okay, Priest is finally here, but like, man, you couldn't rely on it.
Yeah,
You
he's
could
either
rely
the
on it.
bottom of B or the top of C right now.
Yeah.
I want nothing more than to put him in B, though.
He had a really good showing, at Champs.
Champs had a good showing, but
But it was
in
near the end of the
stage 5.
season, it was almost like too little, too late.
mhm.
I don't know, man. But it's tough to say because it's like the Rokkr squad, they at the end of the year, they played really, really well. Priest looked good. They're staying together heading into the next game. Like, things are set up for Priest to be in a pretty good spot again, but
Throw him in C.
I'm down to put him C, but he's at the top of C. For sure.
That's
So
fair.
Slasher's up next.
Slasher.
Is he in the same tier in your head as like a Crim or as a
No.
Gunless?
Do you think he's below? It's hard, man. Would he? I think he'd be B. Don't you think? I don't know. Every time he's on land, man, he just shows up.
I know that's the problem is that we only have such a small sample size with Slasher on land in the past year, well, 2 years, and like how trash he was in Modern Warfare until Champs, and then then they were in Texas, so then okay, now he has that excuse, and then now he's playing good in Texas at Champs, and then this year he was really bad, and then he comes in, plays great on land, and so it's like if next year's land, I mean, it's hard not to put him in B.
Mm-hmm.
But like, they can easily make an argument that he's C if a guy like Priest isn't C.
Put him in C.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many other players that are going to be more deserving to be in the B tier.
And again, we are only ranking the top 40 pros in this. So C tier, when we get to 48, C tier will actually be one of the middle tiers because there will be an E tier in tier rankings in the future when we have all 48 CoD pros plus subs.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll see. All right, I'm down. Cammy, I mean,
Here's the debate.
you got to put him in S. You have to put him in S. Dude's insane.
I think if you think Standy should be an S, I think Cammy should be an S. I think
I
Cammy-
agree.
Yeah,
But
just
I would
Standy.
put Standy in A though. But that's me.
That's the debate we're going to have to get to here in probably a handful of picks, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
So I'm down to put Cammy in S for now as well. Obviously a beast.
Yeah.
Nasty is up next.
If we put Pred and D, got to put Nasty at D.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same conversation, right? It's the same debate. It's a new player. It's a rookie. It's a guy who has shown a lot of promise for sure, but we haven't seen it yet. And so it's like, how do you take the chance on him against some of the other proven guys in the CDL? So, I mean, if you guys have no opposition, down to go with D for that. So, Sky's the next guy up. Interesting guy here. I would put him in A.
I'm kind of thinking the same thing, though I just feel like it might be a little unwarranted. But if I was forming an organization, Skies is the person I would want. I think he's really good. He just had some, maybe some unfortunate circumstances with Cold War's team.
Yeah,
So
I'm with you.
You put him above Crim.
Yeah.
I mean, I think. Because it's like, I mean, again, it's just tough because it's like, as an individual talent, Skies is an A-tier player. He's insane. And then Crim, it's the intangibles argument. And then you have to come down to like, okay, on an individual basis, how much do they bring to a team? And then you could probably argue that they're in the same tier, but then it's like, that's what gets tough for me. And that's why it's a really hard argument. I mean, we still have a lot of guys where it's like, man, they're right there. Skies is the back of the A tier for sure, or the top of the B. I think he's either like maybe the last guy in A, although with Draza, then I mean, Draza out of there.
Oh,
so
you're crazy, dude.
I personally, honestly, I could see Kenny, Skies, and Draza all going down to the B tier, depending on what ends up happening with the rest. I think we're missing out a lot of A guys still.
All right. Well, yeah.
Let's
just keep rolling.
Envoy's up next.
Let's get these done. Let's throw Envoy in A.
Definitely A. I mean, 100% A. The guy's a beast. And
I'm comfortable with it. I could see him being in B. I don't think it's totally unwarranted, but A is I'm confident with.
I mean, I think he's a tier above the SMGs in this tier. Bance, Neptune, Asim, Afro. He's a tier above them.
A little bit of a rough year, but
I mean, definitely not an ideal year by any means, but I mean, I think people overblew how quote unquote bad he was because he's on OpTic. But like, there were literally maps where he was literally dominating this season. And those are forgotten because of his few moments where he was caught in the open or caught on a flank or caught pushing pillars when accuracy 3 pieces the rest of his team, which are very memorable moments. But like on the season, I think Envoy was still a really, really, really good player. I think it's honestly at this point, he's underrated. If anything.
Could be.
But you guys good with A?
I'm good with A.
Okay. Sounds good. Interesting player here. Zero is up next. I mean, I would put him in D.
Man, it's
Rex?
hard, dude. It's hard because I think he's got that B tier potential.
Oh, for sure. He is. Yeah, he definitely could end up being really, really, really valuable this year to London. But it's like the last time we saw him, he was all right.
If you missed Cold War, you got to throw him in D. He wasn't even on a great team in Modern Warfare. They had a good run at champs. That's kind of the last we saw of him. I think D.
I could see an argument like maybe the back of the C tier, but I kind of want to see what ends up kind of sifting out with these guys. So, all right, well, here's our debate. Our debate begins here. So we have one spot left in the S tier. Insight's here. We have to put him there.
Insight is for sure S.
So it's like we're gonna run into some problems because we haven't ranked Simp yet.
Well, the first person out of there is Standy, 100%.
Standy for sure.
Oh wow, we'll see. Let's wait till that bridge till we get there. All right. So Major Maniac is up next. Next guy here,
Charlie.
He'd be a great C tier.
He'd make a phenomenal C tier.
Yeah, he's either the back of B or the top of C. I'm down to put him in C, but
he's right up there with Priesta.
Rokkr fans gonna be pissed. We have Priesta and Major Maniac in C, man.
Rough.
Whenever you do tier lists like this, you're like, man, the CDL is so freaking good. Like when Slasher is a C tier, like Major Maniac or Priesta, or like these guys like Havoc, like these guys are really, really, really good COD
I will say,
players.
I think it's wrong having Slasher below Gunless.
I do too, kind of.
Just overall, but I know we'll go back to it. So.
Yeah, we're probably going to go back to it. Dashy's up next.
I'm okay with an A.
Yeah. I'm down to lock him into A. How you feeling, Sam?
Yeah.
There is a side of me that wants to look at the S tier, but
really?
No,
S tier?
I don't think that.
I was kind of even contemplating B, but
I'm with you, Sam.
Really? What? B? Wait, what?
I think he's
Draza?
A. I think Dashy's a pretty strong A. Dude, you're so down on Draza and it actually is amazing.
Down on him? No,
it makes no sense. Draza was
y'all
one of
are high as a kite on Draza.
No, we're not. He was really, really good.
But top, you have him like a locked and loaded top 12. Like,
Yeah.
No.
Hmm.
No. Envoy or Draza? Envoy, it's not close.
Draza.
Oh my word. End the podcast. Turn it off, chat, please. Maintain my sanity, I beg. Oh my goodness. All right, Clay's up next.
Clayster.
Probably
He had
A.
a really good Cold War season.
I mean, is he a tier above Crim in your eyes? That's really the question.
I think
Is he a tier above any of these other guys? I think what we're getting to a point is where Crim could be A, but like,
See, I'm struggling with Crim at B. Like,
Here's
bro, we
the
still
difference.
have-
Here's the difference between Crim and Clay. Like, they bring similar aspects to the team in regards to leadership, structure, yada yada. But Clayster, he performed like a high level. He was considered one
until
of
he left.
the best
those last
ARs.
3 games, he was getting bodied.
Yeah, but he was considered one of the best ARs for a long time during the season.
I know.
And with the amount of intangibles that he brings to the team, I think he's an A tier.
I mean, Crim's gonna flex this year.
How much has the game gotten to him? What's he going to look like in Vanguard now?
He's the back of the A tier.
Yeah, let's put him in A.
man.
You good with that, Sam?
Yeah. I'm just like,
I know. We'll get back to Crim.
I know. It's weird, man. It's weird.
All right. Next up is accuracy. I mean, I don't have the Rokkr picture of him here. Whoops. But
Whoa.
we got a Subliners
C.
picture on. Really?
I mean, you're thinking D?
I mean, we have Slasher, and isn't
I was gonna say,
Slasher a
he's-
tier above accuracy?
Slasher might be too low, but Slasher is without a doubt above accuracy.
I mean, again, I'm inclined to always kind of body ARs in these lists. That's kind of just how I go with these types of things.
Mm-hmm.
I'm down to put accuracy in D. If we're trying to have like at least 6 to 8 guys in D tier, then I feel like we might need to put him there. Although we have
Think so.
Gizmo up next, I think we'd all be willing to put Gizmo in D.
Man, we were just railing the foreigners.
Although
It's
I've heard
tough, man.
Gizmo's
I know.
actually a legend.
We're going to
but-
look so like if you're not playing in North America.
Well, I mean, none of these guys
They're just
played in a
rookies.
CDL this year.
No, but
Accuracy only played half the season.
that's what's funny about it. It's just like that's the way it kind of fell, but it just looks
Right. I know.
horrible.
It's tough. I mean, also, it's kind of the easy out because you're like,
It is.
there's like a guy like Major Maniac. How do you put Major Maniac in the same tier as those guys?
Yeah.
Like Major played an insane end of the year.
Yeah.
So Octane's the next guy. So like, I mean, in my head, he's a locked and loaded A.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I feel like Octane now has the name. He's a YouTube creator. He has the hype around him that has never
hate
gone
YouTube
away.
creators.
Yeah,
No, I don't
obviously
hate
you guys
content
hate
creators,
Octane.
but I'm not gonna lie. I do look at content creators in a more,
I hate those
tighter
guys.
lens.
They're the
be-
worst, bro.
well, because they get automatic hype. Like it automatically.
I wish I got
if they
automatic
make
hype.
if they make 3 videos, they're automatically legendary Call of Duty players. Now Octane he's pretty good, but he hasn't had success in 2 years.
But I mean, as an individually talented player, I feel like it's undeniable. Like, he is so good. And we saw that upside on LAN.
Yeah.
I just think it's a bit I don't know.
If we have Clay and A, I feel like you have to put Octane in A.
Well,
we have
here's the
Skies and
difference.
A.
Here's the difference. Clayster produced results. Octane
Okay, then
did
what's
not.
the argument for Skies versus Octane then?
Skies produced more results than Octane.
Well, I mean, that's
Octane
true.
produced practically no results
but, I mean, for 2 years, obviously.
for 2 years.
he was playing Call of Duty Zombies.
He
for-
did beat FaZe on
for
LAN. That
formal.
matters, right?
Yeah, so did LAG.
Not on LAN.
Okay, not on LAN. Online.
And not in a tournament. In a league play match that didn't matter. This is when LAG beat him. This is A.
I'm comfortable putting him at A.
He's the back of the A, for sure. But
All
top
right,
16-ish.
We'll see how the
maybe
list
top,
plays
top
out.
18.
We'll see how the list plays out.
So we currently have 2, 4, 6, 8 right now in A. I don't know if we can go too much more than that, though, because we still have to drop one guy down from S. So we'll see.
Standing. Okay.
Sib is up next.
Sib, D tier. There we go.
Who are you highest on out of all of the rookies? So Fred, Nasty, Gizmo, Sib. Who are you highest on out of those guys? Is there an argument that you'd be willing to take your shot at any of them being in C?
I'm excited to see the Nasty Afro duo.
Yeah.
So
Who's the guy you're most confident? I'm most confident Sib's going to come in and be at least solid.
You would think he gets a lot of credit from pros. He's in with the pro guys.
And
So
he
they
tore
all
up the
talk
NA
very
scene, which I
highly
just
from
have a little
him.
bit more confidence in. I mean, it's just
But
the
here's
NA.
the thing: all these players tore up their respective scenes.
Yeah, but yeah.
What
I
are you
agree.
saying there, Josh?
No, but like Sib was like legitimately like dropping nukes on the freaking scene in the NA. I mean, Nasty had some really, really, really good series at points too, for sure. But I feel like Sib was on a little bit different of a level when it came to performance. But not to down Nasty. I think Nasty's gonna be really, really good this year. But
Mhm.
that's why I'm just saying is I have a little bit more confidence in Sib overall. That's just kind of and
It's a fair point, though. It is.
yeah. But
Ooh.
we'll see. I'll leave him in D though. I'm down for that if you guys are good with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awakening's up next.
Man, what a difficult discussion
Boy.
about
B.
a legend. He's an anomaly player. Like you can see he is so incredibly gifted. He has a really good, mental.
He's more of a anomaly player because he's going in the B tier.
I'm okay with putting
Where's
B
my cricket
tier.
sound effect?
I feel like
but anomaly, what?
he pulls off some of the craziest things.
But that second half of the year, what happened with him, man?
Yeah.
I know. That's his only question is his adaptability to a team.
Yeah, I agree.
He seems sort
I
of a
think it's a pretty big
selfish
question.
player. That's like his kind of his downfall.
I don't know about selfish, but like definitely a little bit tougher to adapt.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of hype with Awakening, but like when you look back at it, there just wasn't.
I mean,
if
That-
we're watching a 1v1, I'm going to pick Awakening a lot of times because, he just does some miraculous things.
yeah, but I mean, like right now, like after the last 3 stages of CDL, it's hard for me to say he's a tier above like Asim or Gunless or Neptune or any of those guys inside the B tier.
All right, we can
I
put him in
concur.
B.
Because I mean, Skies even in those games where they weren't really winning well, Skies was dominating.
But I do think there should be a discussion between Octane being in A tier and Awakening being in B tier. Like you're going to tell me Awakening with the many things we saw, it was, worse
there was-
than Octane?
there was a drastic difference on LAN between Octane, but
Octane
then
dominated.
Awakening.
Octane and Awakening did not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, you have to, at least my approach with LAN is you have to weight it at least a little bit more than online.
You
It
gotta.
does mean more. You have
It
to.
does.
And they were tournaments versus
Yeah.
online LAN, like league play that we were watching. So,
Yeah.
all right. Attach is up next. Wow. I would say A, but we are running out of spaces.
We have so many players.
A.
I mean, come on. Attach is better than Draza.
No, he's not.
He is.
He did not show that. No.
Attach is better than Kenny, too.
Really?
Yeah. Attach is better than Clay and Octane. I'm pretty high on Attach.
Why are you high on Attach?
Yeah.
He's a
why?
top 15 player.
I
Why?
feel like you like his personality.
What?
Yeah, I think you're hype beasting.
He was
him.
really, really good in S&D on the whole season. Really, really, really good. And his second half in Respawn was great. And the whole Rokkr team played great in that second half, obviously. But Attach was very, very good.
I mean, when did he start
Not to
showing
mention-
up?
you
Was he
mentioned-
showing
Not
up?
to mention, you mentioned the intangibles of guys like Clay and you mentioned the intangibles of other people on the list. Attach is up there with the best intangibles in the CDL.
Possibly. It's a valid argument. It seems weird that Priest and Major Maniac would be in C and then Attach in A. I'm trying to remember, when did Attach really start showing up?
Stage 3.
So before Priest and Major Maniac did?
Yeah.
All right. So
When Standy came in.
I personally would like Attach at B. him being an A doesn't kill me inside.
The problem is we have a lot more guys to go. Oh my word, this is gonna be impossible.
Aren't we at like 40 already?
We're being too nice to people.
I mean, this will all get adjusted once we get everybody on board.
We've got like 4 or 5 more guys to go.
Okay.
I personally think we should try and put 8 in each tier, or 5. 8 in each tier.
Oh no, we have 4 more starters to go, and then 2 more subs. So we'll see what happens. All right, next guy up, Scump. I mean, he's A tier, so let's throw him in there. Let's get through these last few guys and we'll debate. Simp, S tier.
S, yep, easy.
Huke. Interesting debate with Huke. Because I mean, like Cold War, it's hard to say he's more than B, but you could say going into Vanguard that he could be A. And in my tier list, my last tier list today, I had him in A.
I'll put Huke at A. I'd put Huke at A.
Oh no, this is gonna create for some problems, boys.
I think if you have attached at A, you gotta have a Huke at A.
I mean, I would put attach at B, but yeah.
So then we have the Yeez, Dave Patty, kind of like who's gonna start there with those two, and then we
throw
have
them both
Vivid.
in D. Doesn't matter. Vivid.
Okay.
This is the real name.
It should be at least C.
Yeah, I agree. Vivid's at least C.
Yeah.
He could be A.
Let's put him in C.
Okay, so right
All right,
now,
B.
we'll look at the tier list right now.
Guess it settles that.
Oh, B? Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine.
I didn't. Yeah, my bad.
Let's go through
I was
this.
already
Let's
jumping
fix
ahead.
this.
So we in S tier. Who we locking into S tier? We're locking Simp into S tier.
Locking a BZ.
We're locking a BZ in. We're locking Celium in.
Let's lock Cammy in.
Yeah, I'm down to lock Cammy in. I'm down to lock Shotzzy in.
Yep, Shotzzy.
You gotta lock Inside in.
Yeah, lock Inside. I think the problem with RCDs and why it's so much of a debate is that he was surrounded by such talent that it's hard to like show how great he really is. Standy. I think Standy's the one taken out. Everybody else stays.
Yeah. Oh man.
I think it's between Hydra and Standy.
Hydra definitely is better. Hydra
It's
stays.
tough with RCs. I agree with you. The public is going to say RCs is the easy out here. That's what the public's going to say. I guarantee you.
But that's the thing is do we put RCDs in an A tier that maybe is undeserved because he doesn't get a chance to even show how great he can be for a team?
No, yeah, because his 3 other teammates. I mean, the argument is like, yo, you could have thrown any of the B or A tier ARs on FaZe, and then they would have been a COD champions. And I'm like, that's just so not true. It's just not. I mean, I think all of us agree on the value of RCDs, so I'm down to stick with them. But
Take
like,
out Standy.
Okay, Sam, where are you at? I'll let you and Rex decide this. It sounds like you want Standy in A.
But it doesn't seem right when you say it out loud.
It doesn't seem right when I agree. Because he's kind of the foundational piece of that squad. Major Maniac and Priestess C. Catch A, Standy S. But I mean, again, you guys got to vote. I mean,
My vote is Standy out.
all right, that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah, but
now,
he needs to be at like the front of A.
obviously, he's the front of A. I mean, we can kind of like, I'll move him to the front for the sake of it.
Sorry, Standy, but something had to be done.
I mean, Kleenex is there too. So, I mean, like, you can kind of see the argument for both of them being in the same tier.
Yeah.
But then that's why you look at draws and you're like, well, look at that fraud.
You're insane. You're insane.
Look at that fraud.
I'm joking, man. I love Draza. You know, that's just so crazy. I didn't realize you guys were this high on Draza.
Here's the thing. I think we should look at the B tier first and fill out the C
you mean like
tier.
start sliding them down a little bit? So, okay, so right now we have 2, 4, 6, 8. We have 8 starters. You know, Dave, Patty, and Yeez kind of count as one starter. There is a world where you could also, we don't have to stick it to it perfectly, but it has to be within like between 6 to 10 in every single tier. So let's all put our one vote in for who should move down from B tier to C tier.
Vivid.
I was going to say Vivid too. Or Mac.
Mac.
I would say Mac.
Yeah, I'd vote Mac.
Here's the thing. Mac, I would fight for you, but dude, you had some atrocious games.
I was going to say, it feels weird to have Gunless above Slasher, so I would agree with that.
Gunless down, yeah.
I think Illy
No.
needs to be down, too.
Do not put Illy down.
I'm just
I think
experimenting.
Illy kind of wants to be. I don't know.
I disagree.
I'm looking to see. I mean, okay. Oh, here. Let's talk for the. I bet the audio listeners are confused. Okay, audio listeners, I'm sorry we forgot about you.
I'm sorry.
In the S tier right now, we've got Simp, Abizi, Celium, Cammy, Shotzi, Insight, Arcides, and Hydra. So we have a full 8 in the S tier. We have 40 CoD Pros for tier listing plus a few extras, and then so we can have at max 8 or 9 in each tier basically. A tier right now we have a lot of people. So in the D tier right now we got Pred, Nasty, Zero, Accuracy, Gizmo, Sib, and then Yeez and Dave Patty. And then C, we've currently got 6 guys there. So we got Havoc, Priesta, Slasher, Major Maniac, Mac, and Gunless.
Let's move people from the A.
We need to move A out because when you have Standy and Kleenex up there,
Right. That's kind of setting the standard for that
it
tier.
is. Yeah.
I agree. So let's all put in our votes. I would vote Draza, Kenny. Oh, Draza, Kenny.
I'd vote Skies down.
Really?
I would vote Sky's Octane down.
I would vote Draza, Kenny for sure. And then, man, I don't know. Maybe either Octane or maybe Skies or Huke. I'd be down to put Huke in the B.
That seems wrong.
It doesn't seem that wrong to me. I don't think it's completely unwarranted.
He's going to have some pretty good talent in there once we move the other guys down.
I mean, when you're essentially dropped from 2 teams for pretty much the same reason.
I just think Huke is better than Attach. I really do.
I agree. I think Attach should go down.
What? I think Huke and Attach should be in the same tier at least then.
Dude, you have such a misconstrued concept. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
You have a misconstrued process.
You.
What is this? Okay, so let's get some. Let's get 2 players in debate. I really think Draza should be in the B tier. Like, this is a very strong. I'm gonna use.
Here's the thing, Josh.
One of us is using our veto on Draza. I mean, that's a guarantee. I'm gonna use my veto on Draza to be.
Can I veto your veto?
Now we just have no vetoes.
Sam.
Now neither of us have a veto, but then that means Rex is going to use his veto on Draza, and then it's just we have 1 veto, and now we have to.
I will stand behind my stance. I will get roasted. I'm using my veto. Draza
All right, that's fair. Okay, that's fine.
Good.
Now, who's your player going down to A then, Sam? Or no, actually, you get to go last. You just use your veto. Rex, who's your guy going down to A or to B? Either we need to move a bunch of ARs down to B, and we just move. We move Skies, we move Skies, Clay, and Octane.
I'm vetoing Clay stays in A. There, I'm done.
Oh my word.
I love this.
Well, because then right now we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So
too many players.
It's just too many. We have to get down to at least 9. We have to get at least 3.
Okay,
out.
here. Kenny or Huke? Who do you pick? Who's better?
I think Kenny should be in B.
Kenny. I'd move Huke down to B.
I'd be okay moving both.
I'm okay with it, but I don't love it. Because at this point, I'd definitely rather have Scump than Huke. I'd rather have Scump than Attach.
Okay, you know what? I will concede due to Huke's Cold War season was rocky. Let's put him down to B. Just do it.
Word. Yeah.
The problem is there's just no tier gap difference between Draza and Kenny. And there's no tier gap difference between.
Why are you so low on Draza?
It doesn't make sense. I think Draza was I think Draza was easily seen as the best player on that team.
Bro, even Shift, shout out to Shift. He said that my hot take of if Draza played the whole year,
but
he could have been in
the
contention for MVP.
I think so too.
Yeah, but we didn't even get a chance to. So you're going off of no evidence.
I'm going off of. I'm using predictive math, and
It's called the eye
that-
test.
I'm saying that his slope is going upward.
100%.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I want to see where Reddit had him. I can't remember where they had him. Okay, Draza was at 21 for the Reddit, which means he beat B tier. Reddit's on my side.
Guess what? Doesn't matter. He's been vetoed to A. So
Oh my
Didn't
word! Yeah.
Reddit-
You're saying that I'm the one that's low on Draza. You have to defend yourself because you're high on Draza. That's all I'm trying to say.
I will. Yeah. Okay. I mean, sure, a little bit.
you didn't really defend. You really didn't even defend your point. You just went to another. You went to Reddit of all places.
No, I'm just
to
because that's
to
the only place to get the people's perspective on things. A lot of the times,
I don't care what the people's perspective is. I
No,
know
'cause
what
you were
my
accusing me-
perspective is.
You were accusing me of being low on Draza, but I'm saying I'm on the average of Draza. You're
Where do
high
they
on
have
Draza.
attach?
Yeah, that's a good question. That will tell us a lot.
18.
Dude,
I
that's
told
actually
you.
hilarious.
'Cause
That
people
is
are
actually
smart.
maybe the funniest thing I've heard on this pod.
look how
You're
smart
gonna
the
tell
Reddit is.
me attach is better than Draza during Cold War.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to debate. It's like I'm debating with a flat earther. It just doesn't make sense. Like it's just impossible.
Oh my word, unreal. I cannot believe this. I think about 30 minutes of our podcast has been about Draza, I think, at this point. It's a tough decision to make when we're trying to come to consensus here because
True.
the two guys who I'd probably want to bring down then I'd want to bring Kenny, Draza, and Huke down as my three for sure that would come down. Because we just see how these tiers so much differently because in my head, Draza is so not a tier ahead of Attach. Like there's no way they're not in the same tier at
Here's
the
the thing.
least.
In me and Sam's head, he is. like he
I
is.
know, but I feel so strongly about that. But then the problem is I think Kenny and Attach are easily in the same tier.
Like I don't know what kind of game we're playing here, but
Josh
like I'm
is
not
so
letting
bad
you
about Draza.
besmirch Draza's name. Like I'm just not letting that happen.
Man. Draza paying you?
No. He's paying me in good gameplay.
I don't know. So I mean, long story short, I'd rather just have a big A tier than move one of the four down. But
I'm fine with keeping the A tier like that. Well, hold on. Well, now it's not what I just said. Why is
Well,
it?
Well, no, it's not just what I said.
I'd be, dude.
I agree, and then he changes it. What's happening?
You have to use your
No,
veto, Josh,
with
then.
Attach because Attach cannot not be in the same tier as Scump and Kenny.
Well, then
I
use
think
your
he
veto.
can, but or whatever. I'm not that hard pressed on putting Attach in B.
Let's move Octane.
I
Okay.
agree with that.
Sure,
I'm down
yeah.
for that.
We need to move it AR down 100%.
Nice.
Okay. I mean, that was painful.
And then move Kenny down.
Both of the teammates, the LA Thieves fans are screaming.
I mean, there's gonna be a lot of screaming fans here. Like we already got Octane and B and not
yeah,
this,
because I mean,
so
like
it's already
that was my
crazy.
thing is like
We have Attach above Octane.
because when I made my list before, I was like I had Clay, Skies, Octane, and Kenny back to back to back to back, and so it's like we're splitting what in my head is kind of a tier of ARs. So it's like
Well,
it's kind
I
of tough to
think-
split them.
I think what your problem is that you're going to your own head.
What?
For those answers.
You,
know what I
guys
mean?
don't exist. No. I was just trying to like come to a good thought of like, okay, so how's that looking?
Sure.
2, 4, 6, 8, 9. We have 9 in A, which is at least somewhat acceptable. Yeah, it kind of just comes down to like that conversation of those ARs and then Draza. Obviously, we have the biggest difference in ranking on Draza. I guess we'll stick with that for now. So our S tier is Simp, Abeezy, Celium, Cammy, Shotzi, Insight, Arcides, and Hydra. Then our A tier is Standy, Kleenex, Draza, Skies, Envoy, Dashy, Clay, Attach, and Scump. B tier is Illy, Asum, Crim, Neptune, Bance, Afro, Awakening, Vivid, Huke, Octane, Kenny. And then C is Havoc, Priest of, Slasher, Major Maniac, and Mac and Gunless. And then D is Pred, Nasty, Zero, Accuracy, Gizmo, Sib, Neptune, or Yeez, and Dave Patty. So
Wow.
I mean,
there it is, boys. I don't know how that feels, but we're here. We made it.
I mean, usually the best compromise is something nobody likes. So
I feel fine about the S tier. The A tier is aside from the scar, and then we have. I'm
so.
And then B tier is okay. I don't love that we only have 5 and or 6 in C, but you know, we're being nice around here today. You know, we're feeling kind. Like having nice. Slasher a tier below and like Gunless feel a tier below doesn't feel that right, but we're done. It's over.
Right.
Intelligent or irrelevant, it's time. Let's go into it. Holy moly, that was crazy. Let's go.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
Sam, what do we got?
Here we go, boys.
Intelligent or irrelevant? We're here. We made it.
We made it here, boys.
What was the question?
How many former CoD pros will go to Halo Infinite? It's you know what I mean? It's a question that I put on there.
What are the numbers that we have to work with?
The answers are 0, 1, 2, 3+.
I think Neptune, if things don't go well for him this season, I think he could
Formal,
switch back.
obviously.
Formal.
Oddly enough, I could see Clayster trying to do it.
I don't know, Clay.
I think it's more. It'd be more of like
Enable?
a for fun thing.
Enable, maybe. I don't know if Enable would.
He might give it a go. Maybe if he's like feels like he's nasty.
Yeah.
But at this point, he's a content creator. Probably more just for the sake of content creation. But
Maybe mental.
maybe if things fall the wrong way for him, I could see that.
Yeah.
And then if we're counting, I mean, you know, obviously there's already one Halo legend already playing Halo again, Frosty, but he was a CoD pro. So I guess it kind of depends if people were counting that one.
Yeah.
I might say people were going to say 2.
Yeah. 2 or 1. What do you think, Rex?
I'll go 1.
Yeah, I'll say
What do
3+.
people have to say?
I feel like 3+ might be enough. So or a
Spicy.
lot. Okay. Pretty evenly here.
Okay.
Gentlemen. The most at 32% is 2. Then
Interesting.
next at
Okay.
29% is 1.
That's fair.
24% say 0, and 15% say 3+.
Okay.
Here we go. My man Desma. There's a
Shout out
world where
Desma.
this Halo is just godlike, and a handful of CoD pros, especially in the challenger scene, take a jab at Infinite. However, I think Shotzi 100% stays on CoD. 100%. He's the poster child right now for CoD.
Yeah.
JD Biscuit, shout out.
Okay.
In what time frame? Before the start of the season, I really don't think anyone will switch over. Highest chances would be maybe Huke or Shotzi. I mean, since they've played
Interesting.
before. I mean, Huke could be. I mean, if
It's not the craziest thing ever. If things go horribly for him again.
Yeah. Dangled Sniper. I don't see it happening, but if things don't go well for Huke at LAG, maybe he says screw it. And then last but not least, Austin Blair. I don't think any will before the season. Too much money to be made in CoD. Some challengers guys might if they get some calls.
Yeah, we probably should have specified like by the end of the season. Probably would have been the best way to specify it. But you know, hey, you live and you learn.
I'm still learning.
Solid. That was an intelligent for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
absolutely.
But yeah, man, what are you guys watching this week? What's going on?
I've been, well, I don't know if I talked about it, but I'm watching a TV show called Lucifer. Still on it. I'm in the last season, near the end. Should be a
I
good
know you've
time.
been loving that over the last like year or two.
Oh yeah, I think Lucifer's really fun.
Yeah, I never actually watched it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Nice.
Heck yeah, Sam, what are you watching?
Me and the wifey are finishing up Quantico. I don't know if you guys
What
have
is
heard
that?
of that.
No, what is it?
Basically, it's so like the premise is the first season starts off with like the FBI agents in training. Like they train at Quantico. That's like the FBI training grounds.
Yeah.
And then like basically like what happens is like a bomb goes off, and basically it goes between this class and the present, and you're trying to figure out who from the class turns into the terrorist.
Interesting.
So it's like so it's kind of cool.
What streaming service is it on?
It's Hulu or Netflix.
Oh,
Netflix.
okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So pretty interesting.
I haven't been watching too much lately. I mean, I went and saw Shang-Chi, so that was kind of like the most recent thing I watched. Obviously football though, always football. You know, I'm always grinding the old football. Went to the Nebraska MSU game this weekend.
Rip.
That was a tough L. Yeah, that was pain. But you know, hey, you live, like you said, you live and you learn. You know. But we'll see. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the pod. Obviously, drop those comments down below. Hit hit subscribe on YouTube's. Obviously, always appreciate that notification bell.
Do it.
And Apple Podcasts, that 5-star review always helps us, and we read them on the show a lot, and so we always appreciate that. But we appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you guys enjoyed it, like, comment, subscribe, share the video if you guys really enjoyed it, share the pod if you guys really enjoyed it. But as always, guys, I'm Josh. SalvationsElite to my right is Bachelor3 Sam, and to our farthest right, per usual, is Rex ShadyNero. And guys, we will see ya next time.
If any pros feel like they were slighted at all, go ahead, prove us wrong. There's so much upward potential for so many of you.